What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WrestleRant Ranks, where every single Monday I, Graham, Gius, and Matthews do tier list rankings and quizzes. And here today, we're going to be ranking every AEW pay-per-view match for Bryan Danielson from 2021 through 2024. Now, this list, for whatever reason, did not include his Wrestle Dream match against Jon Moxley from last year's Wrestle Dream event, and I'm not sure why. So I included it myself. For some reason, if I missed it and it was already included on here and I just put it in twice, I apologize. But I got to give a shout out to @TheAverageGrunt on the Twitter machine, also on Blue Sky. He actually suggested this idea to me on hashtag AskGSM a few weeks ago. And I would have done the tier list myself and created it with all the images myself. But as it was on tierlistmaker.com, turns out I don't have to because someone already created this tier list a while back last November. That would be @GHWrinkle, RINKLE on Twitter. So thank you to them for putting this together. And thank you guys for checking out this video. If you want more videos like this, all the other installments of WrestleRant Ranks down below. We started doing the show back in January. You can check out all the other episodes down below in the description box. And also in the description box, you can find out more information on how to become a WrestleRant All Access Pass channel member. $5 a month gets you videos like this early and ad-free. People like Grunt, he's a channel member. Be like Grunt, be a channel member. Get videos like this early and ad-free, among many other perks. At the very least, though, if you just want to like this video and subscribe, all that support is greatly appreciated. And turn on those notifications to be notified every single time we upload new content and every single time we're live here on the channel, typically Tuesdays and Thursdays. But anyway, let's get right into it here. So they organized this tier list from C, B, A, S, and S+. So it's not your typical S, A, B, C, and D. Quite honestly, there is no D that exists for like a terrible Bryan Danielson pay-per-view match. There are some matches that we'll get into that I did not overly love. And some of these I already included in other videos I've done, like ranking all of AEW's pay-per-view matches, all of their main events, not their fucking pay-per-view matches. That would take forever. Every AEW pay-per-view main event as of Double or Nothing earlier this year. So some of these I've already spoken on before, but I thought it was interesting that they broke it down with the S+, because honestly, when you look at this list, there really are some truly exceptional matches that are not only among his best matches in the company, but his best matches ever, and some of the best matches in wrestling history, to be quite honest with you, including some from earlier on in 2024, in my personal opinion. So Danielson, and I say had, but like still it's ongoing. He's currently a commentator for the show, and hopefully at some point he wrestles again. I'm sure he will once he's cleared from like the neck injury, the neck surgery, whatever. He had an amazing in-ring run. Just an amazing run in general, but really in the ring for AEW, those matches were next level. And I really, really liked his WWE run. He had an awesome run over in WWE, really accomplishing all that he could. But in AEW, he just was on another level in terms of the matches he was having against a wide variety of opponents. And I think they're all included here. I mean, I'm not seeing, for example, oh, no, wait. Actually, I take that back. I was going to say, I don't see the Okada match in here. So I feel like there is not every Danielson pay-per-view match is in here. I probably should have double-checked that. Oh, no, wait, I take that back. The Okada match is in here. It's right below the, right before the All Out match from 2023. Anyway, let's get into it, starting with his first pay-per-view match for AEW. Not counting his debut, that was not a match when he debuted at All Out in 2021. His first actual pay-per-view match for the company was against Miro, the finals of the AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament. This allowed him to become the #1 contender to the championship going into Winter is Coming later that year, leading to that amazing pay-per-view match that he had with Adam Page. And those two had some great matches, actually none of which ever happened on pay-per-view. I think they only ever had television matches together. But this was his AEW pay-per-view debut. A very good match. Miro was on a tear that year. He had a great run as TNT champion. He disappeared after losing the championship to Sammy Guevara that September. Came back for this tournament, I think replacing Jon Moxley. Maybe it was Orange Cassidy. I forgot who he replaced. I think it was Moxley, though, because Moxley had to go away. So Miro was like a last-minute replacement, faced Danielson in the finals, and they ended up having a very good match. I probably wouldn't go A on this because I think a lot of these other matches were better than that. I will go high B, but that might change. I feel like it probably is an A compared to some of these other matches. For example, I thought this was an A. His Revolution match from 2022 with Jon Moxley was awesome. That also featured the debut of William Regal afterward. The AEW debut of William Regal, him coming out, attempting to get the two back on the same page, and really giving birth to the Blackpool Combat Club that we would see soon after, also involving Claudio in a few months after that, and Wheeler Yuta, rather, before it became the Death Riders that we know as today. But that was really the genesis of it, was their one-on-one match at Revolution in 2022. And they worked together previously in WWE like a decade earlier, but this was a much better match. They were given time, they just went all out and had this fucking excellent match where they just beat the shit out of each other. So for me, that's an A category match. The first ever Anarchy in the Arena from Double or Nothing 2022, Danielson was not in Stadium Stampede, which they did in 2020 and 2021. In 2022, 23, 24, and 25, they've done Anarchy in the Arena, among other fucking stupid stipulations. I'm not really a fan of that type of match personally. I enjoyed Stadium Stampede more than Anarchy, although it's basically the same thing. Did not love this match, but I think of all the Anarchy matches that they've done, this might have been the best one. It's kind of hard for me to say. He's been a part of 3 of them. Holy shit. I guess he was a part of the first one in 2022, the one in 2023, and then 24 as well. I don't know, man. I did not like the one from last year at all. So that to me is a C category match. I'm sure people would disagree with that. The first Anarchy in the Arena from 2022, I think Jericho pinned Danielson on that one, if I'm not mistaken. And then the second one, I'm just going to rank these now before I forget. I think that was the Elite versus Blackpool Combat Club. The thumbnail doesn't show everyone that's in there, but I think it was Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite. And I think the Elite had won that one. Blackpool Combat Club were heels on that show. I'll probably go A for that one and then B for the first one, but below Miro and Danielson, which I thought was better. Just my opinion. Him and Jericho had a great match at All Out 2022 for the Ring of Honor World Championship. They had a whole series of matches that summer in AEW, including a few on TV and the 4-way at Full Gear that I'll get to in a second. But that initial match, I think, was the best of the 3 matches that they had. And for me, it was really cool to see them working together because they had, I think, maybe 2 matches in WWE, one on the first ever episode of NXT 15 years ago. I almost said 10. 15 years ago. And then I think another one on Raw like 3 years after that. And they were really allowed to go all out and have the match they were capable of at All Out. And this was, I said this was for the Ring of Honor World Championship. It wasn't. That was the 4-way at Full Gear. This was before Jericho became champion at Grand Slam a couple of weeks earlier, or a couple of weeks later. I am going A on this. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as the Danielson match, but still a great match from those two. So I'll go above Anarchy, but below Moxley from All Out, or rather Revolution that year. The 4-way from Full Gear I thought was also very good. Probably not one of the better matches he had on pay-per-view. I remember it being a bit messy at certain points. Jericho retained. Not one of the more memorable matches he's had in AEW on pay-per-view for Danielson, but still a fun match. I think it was Jericho, Claudio, Danielson. I want to say Garcia? Sammy Guevara, maybe? I don't remember who the 4th person was. I don't remember, but I know Danielson was obviously in there. They had a very good match. I'll go bottom of B for that one. I think the Codebreaker finisher, for some reason, I remember just getting fucked up, but still, they had a very good match. Him and MJF is an example of an S+ match. That, to me, is the best Iron Man match in AEW, or AEW's only had one, in wrestling history. Of all the Iron Man matches I've ever seen in any company, to me, that was the best one. So, for me, that was an S+ match as far as being one of the best matches of Danielson's career. That goes to the very top. Then you get to the Okada match. This was very good. They would actually go on to have a better match at the Wrestle Kingdom show for New Japan the following year. I thought that was a much better match. This was very good, but I would not go S. I would probably go bottom of A at most, or at least. Like, I would not go B or C. It was an A level match. I might actually move Moxley to S, but we'll see. The Okada match was very good, but I think, and also getting the return of Final Countdown was crazy. That was awesome. But it didn't quite live up to expectations, maybe because Danielson got hurt. I think early on he broke his arm or whatever. And then again, like I said, they had the chance to redeem themselves at Wrestle Kingdom, which was awesome, but this wasn't quite the Matt Classic we all thought it would be. So I'll go A, which is still very generous, but not S or S+. The Ricky Starks match was amazing. This was a strap match. Danielson was a last-minute fill-in for CM Punk. CM Punk was supposed to be in that match. They were feuding at that time over the Owen Hart Cup. Punk gets fired. Danielson returns last minute, faces Starks on that show, still in a strap match. I mean, Danielson had no reason to be in a strap match on that show, but it was befitting of the feud because I think Starks had whipped Ricky Steamboat. He's Ricky Starks. Ricky Steamboat got whipped with a strap by Ricky Starks. So that makes sense for it to be a strap match. They went out there, and Starks had this amazing performance that they really failed to capitalize on. Starks went right back to the tag team division after this, and I have no fucking clue why. This really should have been his big breakout performance that they capitalized on and made him a star out of, and they just did not do that. So it's still an S-tier match for me. One of the better strap matches I've ever seen personally, and I think it's a great match. I just wish the fallout and the aftermath was better. Zack Sabre Jr. Wrestle Dream from that same year, also in Washington, if I'm not mistaken. I think all the Wrestle Dreams have been in Washington, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, they went in there and had the, technical masterpiece that you would expect from these two. It was one of the matches that Danielson really wanted during his retirement tour of sorts. And I think they had a rematch in New Japan that was also great. I never saw that one, but I did see this one. This was still an excellent match. If technical wrestling really isn't your thing, then maybe you would put it a little bit lower than me. But I thought, and even technical wrestling isn't like my favorite thing in the world, but I thought they went in there and worked wonderfully together and had a really, really great match. So this was, again, another A match for me. I think I enjoyed the Jericho match. I think this is better than the Jericho match. I really like that Moxley match. So I'll put this at top of A, right below Moxley, but above Jericho. The Jericho match is great. I think I enjoyed the Jericho match more, but if we're being objective here, I think the Zack Sabre Jr. match was better. It had to have been. And then he was involved in a random 10-man tag. It was the Remnants. It was either a 10-man or an 8-man. Yeah, one of the first all-star matches that AEW actually booked before. Now they do it every fucking week, but this really was an all-star match. It was the Remnants of the Continental Classic in 2023. The losers of the Continental Classic faced each other in this tag team match, and I was at that show. It was a very good match. Not a match I'd go back and watch. It was far from a classic, but as a way to utilize all these guys and get them on the show, I thought it was a very good match. So I'll go B, top of B, below Miro, but above Anarchy in the Arena. It was a very good match, but again, probably something we could have seen on TV and not necessarily on a pay-per-view, but still great for what it was. The Will Ospreay match, what can you even really say about it? They went out there and had one of the best matches I have ever seen. I'm not going to sit here and say it was like the greatest match of all time, better than Okada, Omega, or Michaels and Taker. Like, there really was no story here beyond them just battling to be the best. That's really all this was, and that's all it needed to be. But the match itself is still one of the best I've ever seen from bell to bell. And people might have issue with like the no-selling and stuff like that. In this instance, I didn't give a fuck. I thought they really excelled against each other, had amazing chemistry, and it was the perfect way for Ospreay to come into the company. Now, he already had matches for AEW prior to this point on pay-per-view, including as a signed talent against Konosuke Takeshi the month earlier at Revolution. But this was his first real test since coming into the company. And he killed it, and he won. And this also allowed Bryan to tell the story with the whole neck thing. And actually, both of them. I think Danielson got hurt, and they were telling that story going into All In against Swerve that I'll get to in a moment. But then Ospreay also, he hurt Danielson on that finisher, whatever he hit him with. Not the sling blade. I forgot whatever the fuck it's called, but he hit him with it, and Danielson got like hurt from it in storyline. Like he sold really getting hurt from it. So Ospreay was hesitant to use that move in the future, which I thought was cool, going into the summer in his matches against MJF. So I will go S+ on this. I think this is the best match that Danielson had in AEW. The Iron Man match had a better story. I just think the Ospreay match is better. I think that might be the best match in AEW history. So for me, that's S+. Then you go to Forbidden Door last year. This was, I almost said Satoshi Kojima. That was the Punk match against Forbidden Door, at Forbidden Door the year prior. This was against Shingo Takagi of New Japan. This was as part of the Owen Hart Cup. They also just went in there and had a fucking awesome match. I mean, really not much more to say about it than that. I would put this above Jericho, below Zack Sabre Jr. The Jericho match had a bit more story. The Shingo match was really just a match, but I think it is a better match than the Jericho match, so I would go above the Jericho match with that one. Him and Swerve at All In is one of my favorite AEW matches, period. I think they went in there and had an awesome match. Again, this is an S+ tier for me. Bottom of S+, I think, but still the perfect scenario for Danielson to win the championship. Either that or he left. Like, he would have retired 2 months earlier than he did. had he lost here. But it was also a great spot for Swerve to be in, who was a great AEW World Champion for as long as he held that championship. And it was an amazing story, an amazing moment. I loved everything about this matchup. And the build kind of left a little bit to be desired, but they still went out there and had one of the best pay-per-view main events in AEW history. I said that when I did that ranking video earlier this year, going to Double or Nothing. So S+ for that one. Him and Jack Perry certainly is not one of the better ones. That would be probably C compared to all of these other ones. I would go top of C with that one. The fact that was the main event is kind of crazy, but that wasn't the main event. I think, oh no, I'm sorry. We're not ranking main events. I'm forgetting the video here. This is just Danielson pay-per-view matches. It did not main event. We main evented with Swerve and Adam Page on that show. I would go top of C for that one, and then, it might be his weakest match. I think people would go with Anarchy in the Arena above that one, so I won't be that ridiculous. I'll probably go bottom of that one, and I just did not like the Moxley match at all. I probably liked it more than the Jack Perry match, but I just thought the finish was lame. People were quiet for it. I did not like that match at all. So the Jack Perry match should not have made pay-per-view. If they just did that on TV, I would have been fine with it. It really wasn't all that exciting of a match. The Moxley match was technically better, but I fucking hated the finish and how they executed it and like the killing of Danielson. I understand what they were going for. I still was not a fan of it. So now looking at my list, I will move the Moxley-Danielson, their first match from Revolution 2022 to the S tier. Put that there. Otherwise, I think we're good. This is far from even, but I would probably keep it. I'd probably keep it there. Well, I feel like this is more even. We'll put the Zack Sabre Jr. match in S. I feel like that might be more fair. I feel like that's fair. All right, so let's go through his worst to best AEW pay-per-view matches to date as of September 2025. We got Jack Perry from All Out 2024 AEW World Championship. Again, for the AEW World Championship, him and Jon Moxley from Wrestle Dream 2024. His two weakest matches were his last two matches, in my opinion, on pay-per-view for AEW. Anarchy in the Arena 2024, all in the C category. On to the B category, the four-way for the Ring of Honor World Championship from Full Gear 2022. Anarchy in the Arena 1 from Double or Nothing 2022. The 10-man, or rather 8-man All-Star Tag Team match from World's End 2023. Miro and Danielson from All Out 2021. Forbidden Door 2023, the Kazuchika Okada match. Anarchy in the Arena 2 from Double or Nothing 2023 against the Elite. Danielson against Jericho from All Out 2022. Danielson against Shingo Takagi from Forbidden Door 2024. On to the S category, Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. from Wrestle Dream 2023. Danielson and Moxley from All Out, or rather, I see All Out because I see the fucking L, whatever. It's Revolution 2022. Him and Danielson and Moxley rather from that show. All Out 2023, a strap match between Danielson and Ricky Starks. And then the S+ tier, Danielson versus Swerve, All In 2024 for the AEW World Championship. Another AEW World Championship match from Revolution 2023, Iron Man against MJF. And the best Danielson match on AEW pay-per-view to date, in my opinion, Danielson against Will Ospreay from Dynasty 2024. That is my list. If you want to fill it out for yourself, please do so down below in the link in the description box. I don't think the link that I'll include will include the Wrestle Dream match from 2024. I had to add that in myself, but if I add it on my end, it will not, because it's not my list, it will not reflect on your end, so just keep that in mind. But thank you guys for watching. Nonetheless, new episodes every single Monday of WrestleRant Ranks, and like I said earlier, you can get more videos like this as an ad, as a channel member, ad-free, down below in the description box. Check out all the information on that. And be sure to just like this video on the way out and subscribe if you haven't already. Have an awesome, folks. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.